Yahweh Elohim Yahshua, Yah the Father, the Word of Son, Yahshua. Yah is the mass and Yah is the Yahshua is the out of me. Father's main and Shua is salvation. Day light from the darkness and twilight in the mist. Waters above and beneath the firmament. The day waters will be the vegetation. Fourth day, sun, moon, and stars. Fifth day, birds, fish, and insects. Sixth day, things, beasts. Name. Of justice founded attributes. There is life, glory, life, and power. Most holy place.
Is anybody hearing anything?
No, but I know Adrian said that he's getting a lot of lag. So I think that's what it is.
I applaud all of you who get on here Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday to listen to class. When I get back home, I'm addressing all of these issues because this is ridiculous.
Well, you guys would have to get Starlink in class, I think, to make it any better. Or some form of high speed.
Yeah, whatever is necessary because
Adrian?
is that my Aunt Cindy?
Yes, darling, it's me. I just got a note that says host wants us to speak. I unmuted, but I also texted Adrian and he said there's a lagging problem. So I don't know what that means in computer speak.
I know when I get back home, Auntie, I'm in Texas right now, but when I get back home, I'm going to let the officers and everybody know how this is. I mean, if we're gonna do it, it's got to be better than this.
Yeah, it doesn't usually happen like this. It's very infrequent, but every now and then there's some kind of computer thing which I don't understand. You might understand better, Jan.
Yeah, it sounds like we just need some more power, some more internet.
Um, and it is the and it is all right. Just tell them that's what it is. What is it? The flag of David and the Star of David. Okay.
We understand. Hold on, that's continuity. Okay. I got this. Maybe.
Thank you.
Cool.
Is this and E is for the E with the banner of the eagle because it 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 has the greatest eyesight. L is for someone put L is for the lion because someone put a banner of a lion because it's the beast of the beast, king of the beast. And one did a ox banner, and he's the king of burden slash beast of burden. And someone put a banner of him because he never dies. That's him. that spells Elohim.
Good job. Okay.
Upper deck, lower deck, upper deck, middle deck, lower deck. One arc. One window shows one light, and one door shows one way. So there were in the garden. We grabbed the staff. He grabbed this. And then he got kicked out of family because he selected wheat to make bread. Yeah, and then Abel got some lamb from that. Then my pig got kicked out because he was jealous of his. As it states in Deuteronomy 6:4, "Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our Elohim is Yahweh unity." And Yahweh is the Father, Elohim is the Word, Son, and Yahshua is the Holy Spirit. The Yah in Yahweh is the masculine portion, and the way is the feminine portion. And in way you see an E in way, and that's for Eve, which was the first woman alive. And then in Yah you see A for Adam, which was the first man alive. Head region, chest region, abdominal region, one body. Most holy place, and court roundabout, one tabernacle. Most holy place lines up with the head region, holy place lines up with the chest region, and court roundabout lines up with the abdominal region. When you notice how when I said head region, chest region, abdominal region, one body, that's because you have everything is threefold. You have your head region, chest region, and abdominal region, and just you are one, just like Yahweh Elohim Yahshua is one. And you are threefold, just like an egg. You got the egg shell, you got the white, and then you got the yolk. And just like molecules, you have the proton, neutron, and electron. Here are here you have these 4 tribes. One tribe had a banner of an eagle because the eagle had the greatest eyesight. And the other tribe had a banner of a lion because the lion is the king beast. And another tribe had a banner of an ox because ox is the beast of burden. And one had a banner of a him, and if you put those all together, it spells Elohim. Intelligence, wisdom, knowledge, love, beauty, justice, foundation, power, and strength. Those are 9 major attributes. There are many more, like law, mercy, glory, truth, and life, but all of those branch off of these 9 major. 1 window and 1 door. On the ark, there was 1 window and 1 door. 1 window showing that Yahweh is only light, and 1 door showing that there's only one way to Yahweh. On the ark there was the upper deck, middle deck, and lower deck. Just like you have the head region, chest region, and abdominal region. The ark was black on the inside, black on the outside, because that's Yahweh's secret chamber. Here in the garden, you see Lucifer. Well, first Yahweh told Eve and Adam to not, you can eat of any fruit, just don't eat of the fruit of the tree on the mist. The day you eat it, the day you die. So Lucifer appeared and was like, what did Yahweh tell you? And Eve said that you could eat any tree except for the tree in the mist. You could eat of any tree except for the tree in the mist, yeah. And the day you eat it, the day you die. And Lucifer said, that's not true. Yahweh just doesn't want you to be as wise as him. And Eve believed that because Lucifer had appeared as the light angel, and Eve believed it because she did not think the light angel would deceive her. So she partook of this fruit, and she turned and gave it to her husbandman, and her husbandman consumed both the fruit and the thought. And that's just like how if you have like a problem or you see something that's not true or anything, you always turn to your husbandman Yahweh. So people say that Lucifer's like number is 666. And so Antipas.
Sorry.
And so antediluvian age, and then there's the post-diluvian age. And then there's the present kingdom age. Oh,
Like a present.
PRI.
PRESEN.
Okay. present kingdom age. Yeah. And people say Lucifer's number is 666, and his number is 666 because in each age he did not make it to perfection, which is the 7. In each age he always fell. So yeah. So in the antediluvian age, he didn't make it to perfection, the 7. He went and he fell, and he didn't make it into perfection. So 6. And then in the post-diluvian age, he did not make it to perfection. He still fell. And then in the present kingdom age, he still fell. Can someone please call John 1:1? It says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Yahweh, and the Word was Yahweh. So it's so if in the beginning was the Word, and Yahweh was in the beginning. So Yahweh is Yahweh was in the beginning, and so he is the beginning and he is the end. And on Exodus 3:14 it says, I will be what I will to be. And you read that how it's originally read without the correct translations. It says, I am what I am. And that's wrong, because that's like limiting Yahweh to one thing. When he is all, you are Yahweh. Everything is Yahweh. And Yahweh is all through all, and that's all. And that's all I'd like to say.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Peter Jones. And for our next speaker, I'll have to call on Dr. Jamie Jones, our assistant superintendent.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Good evening, everyone. It's good to be here, and it's good to be back. As many of you know, I've been gone for a few Sorry, I don't know why. No. Because I was thinking about, I was with my family for the first time, all of us, since I was like probably 14 or 15. And I've spent, the same amount of time here in class. Like this is I believe my 14th year. So you guys are my family. Because I don't see my natural family a lot. And even being there, there's times when you start wondering, like, sometimes like you're so for me, like I'm different from my family, but I came from my family. It's weird. Sometimes you look at your natural family, it's like, this is my true family. But it is good to be here. And even, I even looked back at my own natural family and how, like, we came to Florida. Well, my family came to Florida. I wasn't born yet, but my mom was born in Long Beach, California, which is very close to Pasadena. She was adopted. So, like, if her family had kept her, I probably wouldn't be here. Like, there's a lot of things that, like, you look back and you see, out of all the places, her adoptive family moved here. And, at one point they lived in Banana K apartments. Like I think it was like 88 or something, like a couple years before you guys lived there. But there's so many like little things that I look back and, it's just, as we say, there's, no coincidence. Like if you're meant to be here, then you'll find a way. And, in class, my sister lived at the same apartment complex as the one who brought me in. And it's like, and just be grateful to have a place. And I don't know why I am so I've never been away from class this long. But and I tried jumping on Zoom as much as I could, but the time changed. There's times where I would look at the clock and I'm like, oh, it's 7:30, but then I'd realize that we're 2 hours behind, so class is ending. And then there were some times where I jumped on and then we had customers coming in and I'm the only one that knows how to use the register and all of that. Yeah, it's interesting. But it definitely is good to be back and to have a place where you can come and learn. And I just encourage everyone to not take this for granted, because when you do come every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, you do kind of get in a routine where, you're here, you have stuff going on. But just to put this, just as we do in Ohio, where we set aside those distractions of our job and all of that may be going on, but to continue that year round, not just in Ohio, but continuing it where, we come and we want to hear those words and we want to be inspired, because this is a great thing. And this is not common. Like the things that we know is not common. Talking to my natural family, like it's something to be grateful for. There were times where we're driving and Peter was quoting like a scripture and they're like, how does he know that? Like, and it wasn't even a common one. I asked him the same thing. I'm like, how do you know that, Peter? It wasn't one that we usually call a lot. But, these are things to not take for granted. One another as well. We don't want to take one another for granted, because as I said, we are a family. Sometimes families don't always get along. There's things that come up, but to remember that, that love is what we want to keep intact. so that no matter what comes up, if you keep that love first and put that, you may have a disagreement, but that love is what will carry you through. And you can see when you don't keep that love, then things continue to harbor and fester and get bigger, and then you don't even want to see or look at that person. We know how that, well, maybe not to that extreme, but by keeping that love first, that's what will cause a unity. And it's not always in your time, but Yahweh's time, whenever that is. And I don't think I have too much more to say. But I would like to thank the moderator for this opportunity, and I love you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jamie Jones. And for my next speaker, I'd like to call on Dr. Danielle Trotter.
Thank you. Evening class. It's okay to cry, friend. You amongst family, as we all say. And it is good to see you back, Jamie. My part of my tripod. Yeah, my tripod. Our tripod. It's a pleasure to be here. It's always a pleasure to come and be amongst family, but also be amongst the truth. Right. Because when you come to a place like this, it is a safe haven. It is a place to know that you're not being deceived and you're also being fed. I had an announcement. So as a way of an announcement, I won't be here Sunday through to Thursday because I'll be in Hollywood visiting my grandfather. He's turning 91, but he's also not doing well. This will probably be my last time seeing him. And that's why I enjoy coming to this class, so I can understand that process. I'm still new to this gospel, I would say, and learning and taking on that knowledge. It's still hard for me, but I gain peace having having a soulmate, if you will, in class that helps me with the understanding too, because there are times when I don't understand or I fear death, if you will. But when you really look at Yahweh and you understand where life abounds or where you come from, you have peace in knowing where you'll be. This is not flesh that you're going back to. And when you go to, like we say, when you go to a funeral and you look at the person and you say, I miss him. It's not that, because that's not what's him is not in that any longer. It's that spirit within them. Kind of like when we teach about Yahshua the Messiah. It's Yahweh in the Messiah Yahweh Elohim, as you would, that this is merely a vessel that Yahweh placed on the earth, just like how we are. I'm sorry, I'm a bit emotional. I know, right? We amongst family, right? And this is a true family because I don't see my natural family either. You know, James or everybody here, I don't see my natural family. And when I am around them, you do realize that we are different. We are different people. We're peculiar, but we are different, but we are very humble in our knowledge and what we stand in, because I'm about to be with my mother. And I think most of you met Mary Ann Hilton. Love her. And she's a very sweet lady. And you know that Yahweh works with her, you know? And I bring her up because I'm about to spend a whole week with an emotional, very emotional lady that's about to lose her father. And I have to bring these things that I learn here to help her. Because I know my sister is not going to be that much of it. And if you guys know Lisa Sadaka, but it's going to be a very hard and emotional. But I know that if I'm there with the blessings and the faith and the knowledge that I've been given here, that I can help her understand. Oh. Right. But like I said, I am grateful and I'm thankful to be here. And I continue to ask questions. It's your divine right. And yes, I'm sorry, Zoom, we can't take your questions over Zoom, but if you write them, we'll put them in the back in this little box that our vice president so happens to give to the body, and we will, as the speakers, exactly, as the speakers approach this floor, your Elohim unto my Elohim, your questions will be answered. Just have some patience. We're flesh. We are getting this flesh too. God dang, we can skip and hop and fall sometimes. You know? Right. So, but we are here. We're here in love, and we're doing the best that we can with what we got. Yeah. It will get better. I just have a little patience. But I don't think I have much more to say because I'll probably keep crying. But I love you, family. I really do. And please continue in faith and pushing to keep this gospel alive. Right. And I love you all.
Thank you, Dr. Trotter. And everybody else, all the other speakers thus far. I will now read the announcements. Danielle said her announcement already, and Sonia Bell has a brief announcement.
Good evening. This is just a follow-up to the announcement I made on the group chat. For those that aren't on the group chat, one of our members, former President Dr. Marie Bell's birthday is Sunday. So I have two cards. One has a butterfly on it because she likes flowers and stuff. And this one says, Yeehaw, it's your birthday to the cowgirl. She loves country music. So sign one of the cards. I'm not a fan of those big cards, even though she still got those big cards that we gave her in her bedroom for inspiration for Dr. Joseph Bell. But I've got two, so sign one. Don't do big John Hancock, just your normal legible handwriting, please. And then I'm going to give those to her on Sunday. And anybody also, I message that anybody who wants to help with the flowers, and I'm going to get her a cake. You can see me tonight or pay through Zelle or see me Sunday for any little donations. Thank you so much. What's who? Oh, and Pat Henderson is in St. Cloud taking care of her mother for the week while her sister, my Aunt Will is out of town for the week. Thank you. The card will be in the back.
Dr. Ben Trotter reminded me that the Unity and Yah Symposium is this weekend. Next weekend. So in case, right, so keep that in mind if anyone who is interested. That is coming around the corner. And I will read the moderators for August on our Director of Moderators' behalf. August 1st is me, David Hayes. I don't want to leave myself out for credit, in case anyone's keeping tabs. August 4th, Sunday, is Dr. Ben Trotter. August 6th, Tuesday, is Richard Bell. August 8th, these are all doctors. I'm just not I didn't want Richard Bell to think that I called him a doctor and I'm just making sure you guys are awake, okay? August 6th, Tuesday is Richard Bell. August 8th, Thursday is Janice Miles. A happy birthday. August 11th, Sunday. This is probably the last time I get to read this. August 11th, Sunday is Lewis Henderson. August 13th, Tuesday is Victoria Trotter. August 15th, Thursday is Holly Holdley. August 18th, Sunday, Peter Jones. August 20th, Tuesday, Sonia Bell. August 22nd, Thursday, Eva Trotter. August 25th, Sunday, Donald Bloomfield. August 20th, Antoine Irvis. Keep your comments to yourself, sir. August 29th, Thursday, Laura Gutierrez. Copy of this will be in the this black book. Does anyone need me to repeat?
We all going as a body to the symposium on whatever day that next week.
Does anybody plan to be at the symposium?
It's free to the public.
A show of hands.
Everybody go on Sunday.
Oh yeah, David. There's supposed to be like a tropical depression coming for it or something.
Okay. I'm the wrong to juggle all these things. We'll play it by ear, Vicky. Unfortunately, I don't have the answer to your question. And I get distracted very easily. This list for August moderators will be in this book. In case anyone forgets or was paying attention. And, it's all the opposite. I've enjoyed classes lately. Has anyone been watching the Olympics?
Yes, some of it.
Quite disturbing. Yeah. It's been a little disturbing.
He was gonna.
Well, yeah, I was gonna elaborate. I was indeed like the moderator. Fill in the blanks. Well, they did I don't even know what to call it, but did a last Passover. A reenactment, I guess you could call it. But it was, if you haven't seen it, you can go online and watch it. But it had boxing, which I don't know, watch female boxing, but hard for me to watch women pump each other. No, really, I can't watch that. But there was a man competing as a woman. You guys didn't see that? And it's like, I'm all about equality, but that's taking it too far. Well, it's not even muscle. If you just take a man and a woman that are same height and same weight, it's still going to be a disadvantage for the woman. And I think the fight lasted 45 seconds. And it's like, but I actually have a point. It's understanding. You may believe it or not, things have come up in the past. It seems how can I say it? It seems like when countries or societies become affluent, like everyone knows, they never thought Rome would fall. It fell. Eden fell. The United States has fallen. Every great country seems to destroy itself from within. I mean, even when you look at kings that Yahweh endorsed, it would only last so long. And there's a reason for that. And a lot of times I tell people, usually people that have habits of complaining a lot, that heaven is not for this earth. Now we know that when the Messiah taught the disciples how to pray, and they asked them, teach us as John taught his disciples. Now they mistakenly call it the Lord's Prayer, but it's really the disciples' prayer. And
Suppose we get that, please. Matthew 6 and 9. Those in Zoom land. Uh-huh. Okay.
And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets, that
That-
they may be seen of men.
Yeah, they make a show of it. Go ahead.
I say to you, they have their reward.
Mm-hmm.
But thou prayest, enter into thy closet, when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret.
Mm-hmm.
Thy Father which is in secret shall reward thee openly.
And so, I mean, just basically, the Messiah is trying to teach them and get them to understand how to operate in humility. It's just like they have a saying out in the world, don't tell people your plans. And what they mean by that is, like if I want you to think I'm trying to lose weight, it's like, I'm going to the gym 3 days a week. All you got to do is do what you say you're going to do. And if you start losing weight, people are like, you're working out. It'll be obvious to everyone. You don't have to, broadcast it, put in the newspaper, this, that, and tell everyone, yeah, I'm going to be a millionaire. It's like, just be a millionaire and everyone will recognize it. You don't need to go around. Yeah. Go ahead.
Pray, use not vain repetitions as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Be not ye therefore like unto them, for your Father knoweth what things you have need of before you ask him.
Go ahead.
After this manner therefore pray ye,
Uh-huh.
Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Mm-hmm.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven.
Stop. Now, that expression, that what she just read, and now I'm not trying to knock anyone. I didn't know. I mean, I went to church with my dad. I'd hear them say that prayer and quote it all the time. Never really knew what it meant, but how is the kingdom going to come on earth? And I understand that's in part why when he came to fulfill the law and the prophets, he didn't measure up in their mind as to what a Messiah would be. And they're thinking he's a king of kings, that he's going to be dressed like a king is dressed. He's going to hang out with, and it's like he fit none of those descriptions. And the kingdom is Yahweh Elohim. Now, this is the same kingdom that when the Messiah, I suppose we get Luke, is it 1720? Yeah. Because it's definitely natural to think. And when you hear the word kingdom, you're going to think of kingdom as you know them to be on earth. There's usually a palace, a throne, servants, princes, princesses, all those things associated with the kingdom. That makes sense. But when Yahweh refers to his kingdom, that's not what he's talking about.
Let's say in earth.
That's the same. Well, we'll get to that.
You ready?
Yes.
And when he was demanded of the Pharisees when the kingdom of Yahweh should come,
Uh-huh.
he answered them and said, the kingdom cometh not with observation,
Uh-huh.
neither shall they say, lo here or lo there.
Now that, just him just again describing that, he's inferring that it doesn't have a particular location, right? Just in that sense that she just read. Go ahead.
Neither shall they say, lo here or lo there, for behold, the kingdom of Yahweh is within you.
Now, again, if you were to take the common conception of what a kingdom is, how is that kingdom in me? And what I'm trying to disconnect in not necessarily your minds, but in people's minds is that's not what he's referring to. This was and is his kingdom. And this is what took on a coat of flesh and breathed the breath of life into Adam's nostrils and became a living soul. That's the same thing that happens to every man, woman, and child that is born into the world, is he takes up residence in them. And you have access to that kingdom in you. And that is the questions that you have. And when you get a divine answer and that Shekinah that takes place, that is Yahweh confirming and proving himself in you. And so this kingdom that came on earth, when he says thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth just as it is in heaven, or even if you said in earth, what's he talking about? He's talking about himself. This is the kingdom that came in the earth. And just the way he is in heaven is how he is on earth. So you can't have, well, Adam was just a dummy. No. If he's intelligence, if he has these attributes here and here, if he's intelligence, wisdom, not, this is how he is in heaven. He's going to be that same way on earth. And that intelligence is his crown. And that's how when the Messiah spoke, he spoke in a peculiar way. And what was peculiar about it was this man didn't sound like he was guessing. He spoke with an authority that even if you didn't understand or believe what he was saying, you'd stop and still listen. It's like, this guy sounds confident about what he's talking about. And to the extent that they had actually sent the Sanhedrin Council, sent some soldiers down to arrest him. And they went down, and he was just in the synagogue speaking, and they're listening to him. And they got caught up in what he was saying. To the extent they forgot. You ever go to the store and you're like, what was I supposed to be getting? Yeah. They forgot what they listened to him when he was done. They went back and they're like, where is he? They're like, oh, we never heard anyone talk like that before. If you want him, you could go get him. I mean, that's what they told them. And my point is, the intelligent, he wasn't an idiot. The one that taught us wasn't an idiot. The founder of this school wasn't this, graduated 5th grade, graduated to the 6th grade, but attended. And yet that man was able to teach professors, go to colleges and give lectures and have them ask him questions. And it's like, there, when we're in Ohio, and I was talking to Jonathan, that was, yeah, it was Jonathan. Antoine, you was there. And I was, not to know, but just talking about the founder and things that he wrote. The chart, now I know he didn't actually paint chart, but he authored it. He instructed how it was to be painted. And I was explaining to him how this was not an ordinary man. There was something unique about Henry Clifford Kinley. And what I mean by that is, one, him memorizing the Bible from start, and it's not memorization. Okay, when I was in 5th, 6th grade, I had a teacher, Miss Brammer. She would make us every week remember poems.
Okay.
Of course she would say that. In particular poems. But that's what she would make us do. And I could be one of the poems right now. If you could just put a gun in my hand and say, quote me one of the poems, you just gonna have to pull the trigger. Now, I don't know how many I memorized, but it was a lot. Every 1 week, she would make us, and you'd look at the poem and hope it was short. Like, oh, it's just like a whole page. And she would try to, tell us, this will help when you get into high school. And I'm like, why you just help me when I get to high school? I don't want to do this right now. But it actually did, because it did help you, your memorization techniques. But my point is, there's lots of things I've memorized in school. It has no practical use to me. It's just gone. He didn't memorize the Bible in that sense. Just memorize it so that he could quote it. This man actually wanted to know to a degree that made him memorize the Bible, that made him become a minister, read all the books,
Right.
trying to understand his creator. So, and what I was explaining or expressed to John was, you have to understand that the vision that Yahweh put in him, that won't just go in any body. And I literally mean any body. It's like, I work on cars. It's like people try to soup up their cars and make the engines all powerful. It's like, you can't do that and not reinforce your chassis. So what people will do, I'll never forget, one time me and Sonia went through, I think it was Walgreens pharmacy, and there was a guy, or actually a girl, this couple lived next to us, and he had a Sentra, and he was putting a turbo on it, this, that, and then we go through the drive, and she sees me, she's like, oh, weren't you helping my husband? I was like, yeah. She's like, yeah, I'm turbo, blah, blah, blah. As soon as that girl closed the window, I go, that car will blow up in about a week. And she's like, how do you know? I said, just trust me. Literally 2 weeks later, he's on the, I'm like, what you doing? Oh, I broke a camshaft, and it's because you can just put this, we're just gonna be super powerful and think everything's just gonna go smooth. And the point is this: you have to be fitted for you to see it and not kill you. So when people go, how come Yahweh just give me it? Because it would kill you. Right. You should be careful what you wish for. You don't understand. It's everyone. It's like, we're just trying to tell you the name, and you get pissed off about that. It's like, and you want a vision and revelation just all at once. It's like, we just tell you the name, or actually, you really don't need to get water baptized, and you just blow it. It's like, see, that's why. Now that you should be, that is always mercy, to just sprinkle you with the truth, sprinkle, and hope you grow. Because if he just
Inundated.
Yeah, it'll be a deluge, and you'll be one of them floating around. So my point is, you should be great if you could come to this class and learn something for sure, and you actually accept it. It's like Founder was unique. That actually makes you unique, because everyone does accept it. This scripture lesson talking about that nominal day.
That was a whole.
No, it's not but it's like, I mean, I think all of us have, PTSD on variant. The thing that comes up, which I've noticed, is if you disagree with me about anything, it doesn't offend me. I don't take it personal. I also don't think if you can't see what I'm saying, that just because you can't see what I'm saying, you're evil or you're trying to pervert. I don't come up with this list of satanic things you must be doing because you disagree with me. But the problem is, and I remember Dr. Glenn even said, stop being so quick to think evil of one another. It's just me. Someone doesn't understand. But I'm smart, right, or whatever. And because of that, I want to impress upon you certain in us. I don't care, like he's talking about, doc. It's like, I remember a guy at work came up to me, he's like, hey, do you know that they think Dave is smarter than you? And I was like, so? I was like, maybe they'll stop messing with me. Talk to him. Or they took the branch, dipped it, struck the header, two side post. You had 1, 2, 3, 4 points of blood, right? Now the Hebrews did that. This isn't something they read in a book. They actually did it.
Right.
They didn't understand the significance of it. They didn't understand how this brazen altar of a sin sacrifice, how the high priest would take this, again, blood from the sacrifice, and he would strike these 4 horns on this altar, not recognizing that this, your body, him dying and death going to the 4 corners, and him being nailed to a cross, that all of those things were pointing to this one thing. They didn't know that. And it's not because they were stupid. Yahweh didn't. See how his arms are closed? He's not telling. I'm not telling you right now. And it wasn't arbitrary, like, I'm just not telling you because I just really just don't want it. No, he had a purpose to this. He's not telling yet. But then, here, he opens up and shows them. So now, just that one principle, nobody knew it until the day of Pentecost. So now all the things that we talk about, this phenomenal day, Dr. Trotter with the chronology, all the principle, whatever it is that you excel at in expressing about the purpose of Yahweh, none of that was accessible until the day of Pentecost. So Yahweh, something changed where he made available or gave access to men and angels, uniting them in one embodiment or one under. That's what changed here. So the kingdom coming on earth, because we had it read a couple classes ago when he rose, how Peter said, would you at this time establish the kingdom? And it's like, who's even talking about the kingdom? It's like, why are you asking me this question? It's because him looking at him, he doesn't even know it, but that's the kingdom. And it provoked that question in him. And he's like, will you at this time establish it? Now, he couldn't tell him, but he found out here in Peter, the boldest one of them all. And it's like, before Pentecost, and he told Peter, you love me? Yeah, I love you. He said, you'll deny me 3 times. So a lot of times, people need to be careful how you judge those that came before you. And what I mean by that, I'm not saying, now, you can take things too far. Now, you see them building this golden calf. I'm not going to say that I'd be doing that. I would have done that too. Or Cain killing his brother. I'm like, I can understand, it's like, come on, man. It's like, and it's like that. Now, this may sound like it has nothing to do with it, but they're coming out with a movie. It's not The Wizard of Oz, but and what they're doing, I saw the preview of it, and they're making the Wicked Witch of a sympathetic, and it's like, must you tear down everything in our culture? It's like, now you may look at that and not think anything of it, but what they're doing is they're taking anything that you would call good or bad, and they're trying to blur the line. And it's like, Cain is not a sympathetic figure. It's like, no, what you did is inexcusable, wrong, and evil. Same thing that Lucifer did. So my point is, you don't want to sympathize with that. Because the only reason you would want to sympathize with that is because something of that is in you, and you want mercy when you did. And it's like, no, that's not how Yahweh operates. What I'm saying now, Peter didn't have selfish, egotistical, negative motives like Cain did. I mean, when Cain did what he did, he had, believe me, you know, and I understand it is hard for people to actually conceptualize evil. Because if you wouldn't do it, it is very difficult for people to go, that person is evil. Because it's hard for them to even see that someone would actually intentionally do something like that. But that's what he was. That is what Satan or Lucifer is. That is not what Peter was. When Peter denied him, you have to understand this man, even though they were disciples, followed him for 3.5 years, saw him do all types of things. The thing that gives you courage and steadfastness is knowledge and understanding. And at this time, they did not have that. No, they didn't. Yeah, again, this hadn't happened. And so just like when he said, unless you eat of my flesh and drink of my blood, that's a hard thing to hear, particularly for a Hebrew. And Peter, again, he was tempted to go. He was actually tempted to go. But Yahshua knew how to bring him back. And so when he was asked, hey, don't you? And he's like, no, I don't know. In other words, you have to understand there's an actual purpose going on. So even Peter getting a sword, cutting Malchus's ear off, the Messiah telling him, Satan, get behind me, telling him that you're going to deny all that Peter went through. He was the first one to speak on the day of Pentecost. So yeah, I said that. Yeah, and you know what? He said it and he meant it. He didn't know that what he needed to do. He's like thinking, I'm not letting nobody touch you. Right. So he didn't have ill will and concerning the Messiah. That was where his heart was. But all that he went through, I mean, consider you feeling that. That hard. But But as Yahweh is appearing to Noah, right? And he gives them a vision, tells them to build the ark. They see this event. They see Abraham. The angel appears to him. They see this. So all this sacred history that Yahweh is allowing the angel to minister unto man. The angel is starting to get a glimpse of who the man is. Now, they didn't catch on when they're coming through here and Yahshua's leading Israel and Michael's still standing here. He's standing there. He's on guard. He's going to do his duty. And when they're coming through, he's like, oh, he's like the bouncer. He's like, y'all got to pass because y'all can't just come up. And then all he had to do was just transfigure. He's like, oh. Right this way, sir. But as it's coming down, when he was born, they said, peace on earth, goodwill toward me. Because they knew that the one that whipped them in heaven is manifest on earth. And that's the one that taught us. He whipped his ass in heaven and he came to earth and whipped his ass again. Just to make sure we're going to seal this deal. And so that is what the disciples who then were made apostles, and then now us that have come into this class, we have been given access to the kingdom. So now there isn't, the founder said, you want to go to heaven? He said, you can go to heaven tonight, sitting there right in your seat. It's like, how do you do that? And it's like, well, if you understood what heaven was, just like when you talk about after this day of Pentecost and the present kingdom age, and we make the statement that Satan isn't in the present kingdom age, right?
Right.
Now, when you say that, then people look out in the world and they'll be like, wait a minute. If this is the present kingdom age, why is all this hell in the world? And none of us are denying that there's lots of hell going on in the world. And it's like, how do you square that circle? Well, the present kingdom age isn't of this world. It's not. And so if you're going to look into the world and call that the present kingdom age, yes, it's going to be very confusing. But if you understand that the present kingdom age, as Saul writes, ye hath he translated into the kingdom of his dear son. It's like, well, we're still here in that sense. How have we been translated? It's a spiritual language that he's using, and it's a spiritual process that's going on that just as the seventh from Adam walked and then was no more, he was translated, right? Where all of you were walking, doing whatever it was you were doing, was acting, whatever y'all was doing. And then you were no more. Yahweh translated you. And he turned just like when he spoke to Moses from the burning bush, just like he heard the voice speaking behind him. And he said, and he turned to see the voice. And that's what every one of us had to do, is we had to turn. That is the translation. And so now what this doctrine can do is it's not like we have a list of things that you have to memorize. Okay, if someone asks you this, you need to say that. If someone asks you, that's not what we're doing. What we're trying to do, and what the founder, I believe, endeavored to do, is he didn't try necessarily to teach us what to think. He taught us actually how to think in respect to this purpose, and how this pattern could unlock any divine secret related to Yahweh's purpose and plan. And so when the founder would make statements like, there's very little that you could say that's wrong, as long as you know from where you speak. And it's like, but you're telling us how a lot of things people teach are wrong. Right? And now he didn't say everything. There are things that are just flat out wrong. Now there's things. Does anyone have a Holy Name Bible? Somebody get the King James Version and just read Genesis 1:1. Yeah. Is that the, I'll take that one.
Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, Yahweh Elohim created the heaven and the earth.
Uh-huh.
And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of Yahweh moved upon the face of the waters.
Okay, 1 second here, you can stop. This page, as you can tell, nobody's been in this Bible.
Stuck together.
This reads, and I'm not knocking the Holy Name Bible, although I don't like it. In the beginning, and there's a reason for that, but in the beginning, Elohim, this is actually one of the reasons why I don't like it. In the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. Doing good. And the earth became without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of Elohim moved upon the face of the waters. Do you see the, no, it's just one word. In mine, it says became, and in hers, it said was, that the word, or that the earth was without. This one says it became without. Now you may go, well, what's the big deal? Well, and the founder was asked about that particular scripture, because those are two different statements. And he said, now, if I'm going to choose which one is more accurate, it would be the King James Version. He said, the reason I wouldn't want to use this out of the Holy Name Bible is because you may not know it, but there is a theological theory that there was a pre-Adamic earth, and presumably it was destroyed because of sin and iniquity and evil, and that there was this great war. And then after that war, after everything's pretty much decimated, then Yahweh comes and goes, all right, I got to rebuild. So then that would make sense then why you would say that the earth became. In other words, there was something there. It got destroyed, and now it's just void, and now he's going to make something new. He said, now the only context, now he just proved you how that is not accurate. But then he said, if you're going to use that, you can use it in this context. How that when Yahweh took Moses up into this mountain. Now Moses is walking around on creation before Yahweh called. Right?
Yeah.
But when Yahweh gets him to the top of this mountain and catches him up, to him, the earth became without form and void, because Yahweh had took him back to the beginning and then proceeded forth from there to show him how he. So in that context, you can use it. So my point is, he's showing you how that can lead you down the wrong road. But if you're going to use that, there's a way that you can take that scripture in Yahweh's purpose and make it applicable, but only in one particular instance. But if you're to use that as the actual beginning of creation, it doesn't go. So again, so the founders then, like I said, not teaching us what to think, but teaching you how to actually parse through these scriptures, understanding this, understanding his purpose, understanding the creation, the migration, and you take all those things and you can read something that you maybe never read before and see how Yahweh's pattern is woven through it. Because as the founder said, this pattern is discreetly hidden throughout all the scriptures. And the way this chart is painted makes it super easy to teach. But the Bible, although all of this is in the Bible in one sense or another, the Bible doesn't read in this. I mean, if you look at like the migratory pattern, and then you look at a map, it's not going to look like this. It's like, you're not going to be like, oh, I see a veil here. You know, yeah, I see it. It's not going to read like that. You literally have to be able to take this key and read that story and show you how the key applies to that so that you can get a migration from Egypt into Canaan's land and show how that's correlating. This correlates with a lot of stuff. This, in one ramification, is identical to Adam being risen from the dust of the earth. Now, it doesn't look like that, but that's exactly what's actually going on. Now, this also shows you how women give birth. This, I mean, we don't even have to move. This same migratory pattern shows you how women give birth. Now, you may go, oh, well, Israel was bound down here for 400 years, right? Now we understand the principle being 4 or 40 or 400. What you're showing, just like a woman, when she's pregnant for 40 weeks. So they're bound down here, just like a child, for all intents and purposes, is bound down in its mother's womb. Now, the child can't just bust out under his own accord. This isn't alien. It's not just go, I think I'm having a baby, and he just busts. That's not what happens. But yeah. But what happens is a signal, just like Yahweh said, let my son Israel go. A signal comes from the cloud to let or deliver the child. And so the body, the child, they're all working. In other words, even though the child can't bust out, it has to obey the dictate and it has to move. So when Yahweh says, all right, gather all your, it's not like they can just go, I thought you were going to deliver us. It's like, no, you got to do something too. This is this is a relationship. It's not just like, when are we going to be delivered? It's like, get up. Are your shoes on? Because that's what he told them. Board on your back, shoes on. It's not like there's no chill time. Not yet. So you guys, we're going to have to go. So that's what's happening. So that's how they're being delivered. And then it doesn't look like a baby can come out of a woman. It doesn't. You'll be like, There's no way this is happening. And yet, Yahweh made it is lit. I know people say, oh, miracles happen. Miracles do happen
Every day.
every day. It's like we all walk around on creation, not even thinking that this is a miracle, that all this stuff exists and that it is a miracle. But it's a miracle, but because it's so common to us, we're like, but if you actually thought of the process, you'd be like, that actually is a miracle. And just like them, it didn't look like they'd be able, even some of the children of Israel were like, we need to go back in there. How are we gonna mountains on either side, Pharaoh behind? It's like, how are we gonna get out? And what's happening is Yahweh's he's making it so that when you're delivered, there will be no doubt. It's not going to be like, how did we get out of here, Ben? It's like Ben's like, I don't know. It was kind of windy that day. It's like, no. Everyone will be convinced that after this happens, that they were delivered by a mighty hand. That there's no one that's going to be like, did you see what? No. They all experienced it and were delivered by the strong. So, and that's why I said, you don't want to sympathize. Do you really think they really like believe? It's like, really? You believe that this did it? Like, no. The problem is, well, that's not, but for you to want to do that, I mean, one, they were kind of immersed in that culture here. And when you leave Egypt, leave that culture. We all left California, right? And what Dr. Kinley said, he said, just be exact. He said, no, he didn't say that. And I was just half paying attention back then. And I know he didn't say that. Just telling the truth. Just half paying attention. And I know he said, don't be here the way you were in California. Right? Just like that. This is not a new story, folks. When they came out here, don't be the way you were. And when they got here, he's like, don't be. Just don't be the way the idols. And when he's speaking, Yahweh doesn't speak just into the void. There were people that had idols. Right. It's like when the Messiah said, think not. He's not just saying that for theater. People are thinking that. So when he's telling them, put away your eye, I know you got them. Stop. And he spoke to them in such a way, it's almost like, you talk about divine applied psych. When he says, if it seems evil unto you, I mean, he put it in such a way, it's like, even an idiot would be like, well, it really doesn't seem evil to serve Yahweh. Even though they got out, it's like, come on, man, it doesn't seem evil. But they don't want to buy. But it's like, no, it really doesn't seem evil, sir. It's just, we're hard-headed as hell. You know that, right? But he spoke to them in such a way. And then he said, put me in my house. We're going to serve Yahweh. And just that humble statement, like, oh, I don't know. You convinced me. It's like Paul when he would speak, and the king just like, shut up. I mean, literally, shut up. Why? He's like, I mean, I have a kingdom, and I'm like I'm on the fence now. It's like, but I want to keep my kingdom. It's like, you keep talking, I'll be like, I'm gonna chuck this kingdom, because that kingdom is perishable. But the kingdom that Saul was talking about, for all the things that Saul had been through, and this king, when Paul is speaking, and the Hebrews had accused him, he appealed, and it's like, what would make this man suffer like that, being stoned and all those things, and him be able to stand the way he's standing flat-footed and speak to a king and tell him, I'm happy.
Right.
He's like, this man's in jail. And he's like, I count myself happy.
Right.
Well, why are you so happy? He said, in that I'm able to defend myself, wherein these Hebrews have accused me. And he's like, again, this man wasn't an idiot. Saul spoke 14 different languages. My point is, getting all the way back because I'm out of time. When I told Jonathan that the founder wasn't an ordinary run-of-the-mill, just average Joe, he may have looked like that, but what was in him was exceptional. And then Yahweh took that and then put his vision and revelation in that acceptable vessel. And then that vessel preached to the whole world. And then that anyone that would hear what he said, there has to be something that was in him that's also in you. And so that's what you have kindred spirit with. And I understand, like the former speaker, when it comes to death, it's hard. What the way I've always, not always, but the way I look at it now, part of a parent's responsibility to their children is to make it so that when they die, the parent should prepare the child for their demise so that they can now stand, just like the one that taught us. He understood he would not always be here. And because he will not always be here, he said, I will know when I've done my job, when you don't have to call me. That's what he didn't want you calling. Just like, people always buying you this and buying. And it's like, do you want that? No, I want you to stand on your own 2 feet and stand right where I'm standing with. Isn't that what you want in a war? You want whoever's fighting with you to be as able as you are. You don't want someone that you're going to have to drag across the enemy line. That's not what you want. You don't want someone who you think's with you, and then you're like,
They get scared. Where you at? Where you at?
what? You don't want that. And so that's the parent's job, is he wanted us to be prepared. And just like that, the parents should prepare the child for their act so that they can stand on their own 2 feet. And the whole process is that you're born, your parents raise you up so that you can now stand where they stand. And that's the whole process of the Messiah said. The way you're looking at a master and a servant is backwards. He said, because the master and the servant eventually becomes the master. That is what happens. And it's just like anyone who's taking Kung Fu, karate, or any of those things. The goal of the instructor isn't to always just pummel the hell out of you and just keep, no. The goal of them is to bring you so that you guys are both eye to eye. And that's what the one that taught us endeavored to do. That's what the founder attempted to do with those that he taught, is he didn't want them to bow down to him. He wanted them to stand one with him. And the way you know that is when the angel appeared to him and he bowed, the angel didn't go, yeah, that's right. He didn't, no. He said, stand up. I'm your fellow servant. That's what he did. And this was an angel. So he didn't exalt himself. He made them one. But Father, make them one as you and I are one. That was you are Yahweh. Without any equivalent, I don't have to qualify it. Where you have this, no, you're Yahweh. Now it's your job to take that and understand how that is. And with that, I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Richard Bell. And I thank all the speakers, scripture reader, prayer. I thank everyone for coming. And we welcome all visitors. We hold classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7:30 to 9:30 and on Sundays from 11 to 1:30. Our next moderator is Dr. Ben Trotter. All donations will be accepted by our Secretary Treasurer, Dr. Lisa Irvis. And now please stand for the doxology. Now unto him that is able to keep you from falling and to present you faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding delight. To the only wise Elohim, our Savior, through Yahshua the Messiah, our Sovereign, be glory, majesty, dominion, and power, both before all time, now and forever. Let us all say, Hallelujah.